Hey everyone, Keith Saarloos coming to you live and direct from the Holy of Holies, our back room at the tasting room, where you, if you have a few people, give us a call, set up a reservation. You can sit down with me on Saturdays and really go in depth on all of our wines. And because it's our spring wine club shipment, we are celebrating probably the most important people in my life, other than my wife and kids, my grandpa, my grandma, and my parents actually. So before we get into it, every single one of you has received something like this inside of your wine club shipment. And inside of it, there is a little bit of an update form. And this update form is us trying to, we are a little teeny company, but we need to act like a big one. And your security and your safety online is super important to us. And we are changing to a new system, and that new system will be Pentagon level. And by doing that, all we need you to do is spend a little time, send this in, drop it into the mail, or if you're looking at this video, right below us is the form. You just fill it out online, hit enter, and every single person who fills it out, Wine Club, gets a special 15% off coupon. It's our way of saying thank you to you for keeping us up to date and keeping you safe. But that's boring stuff that has nothing to do with what you have in your shipment. So let's get right into it. The three wines that we have today are Dad, Mom, and 1953. And we'll start by talking about Mom. Mom is our Grenache Blanc. It's actually probably one of my favorite labels I've ever made, just because it's so simple and elegant and beautiful, and that's Mom. That's exactly what she is. It's Grenache Blanc, and Grenache Blanc is an amazingly special wine. Everybody knows about Chardonnay, and Chardonnay is kind of like an off-ramp wine. You get off the off-ramp and you see, you know, McDonald's and this and that, and you're not really happy about eating there, but you're gonna get it. And that's what like that wall of Chardonnay typically is in the grocery store. You're not gonna be super excited about it, but it'll do the job and you'll be happy about it. As I like to think of, Chardonnay is the girl who peaked in high school, and now she's doing everything she can to hang on to that oaky, buttery, creamy wine that everybody used to drink. Grenache Blanc is her sister, or her cousin. And Grenache Blanc, there's only 160 some acres of it planted in all of the United States, and we grow roughly 5% of that. Grenache Blanc is genetically a red grape that lacks pigmentation. So all grapes start off green, and they go through this process that's called veraison. And veraison is when they turn from green to red. We see that in bananas all the time when they turn from green to yellow. But Grenache Blanc does not make that transition to red. So genetically, it's a beautiful red grape in a white wine bottle. I think of what Grenache Blanc is, and it reminds me so much of my grandma, of my mom, of my wife, and really of my daughter. Each one of them is and will consistently be ever changing. Who they are 10 years ago is not who they are today. My mom, I barely even understand. That's the same person who raised me, because she's riding horseback, shooting skeet, hanging out with my dad, traversing the country, watching my brother play baseball. She has yet to peak, and she's in her early 60s. My wife is the exact same way. I see my daughter going that way, and that's what I think really Grenache Blanc is as a whole. The longer you let it sit in your glass, the more it's gonna change and open up and develop. And really, it's what you want to be drinking, because Mom is that ever companion. There's nothing in a Grenache Blanc that you'll ever fatigue from. It's always going to be amazing, awesome, beautiful. And I love you, Mom. This one's for you. Me and Kirk were pretty crappy kids growing up, so it's probably high time to name a bottle after you. So thanks, Mom. I love you. Number two is Dad. And Dad goes right hand in hand with Mom. It's our proprietary red. And proprietary red means it's our blend. Usually we put all of our different blend information on the back of it, but this is a little bit special. This is the wine we took a big risk on. In your last shipment, you had Honjakker, and Honjakker was a wine that was never meant to exist, and it became our fastest selling wine of all time. So now every bottle of Honjakker is $238. So congratulations, you got it in your wine club for $38, and now if somebody wants to cough up close to $250, they get one. But Dad was really meant to be that big risk. And for the uninitiated, it says proprietary red, but for you, it's our Mourvèdre and it's our Petite Syrah. It's two of our darkest, biggest reds. But what's strange about this wine, and it's why I called it Dad, is from the outside, it's intimidating. Mourvedre is a big, huge, juicy grape, usually used in blending for GSMs to give it kind of backbone or base. Petit Syrah is our honor and prepare, and it's the massive, loud, barking gorilla. But when we brought both of these together, it turned into something with a little bit of a heart of gold. And I thought Dad was just a really great name for it because, my daughter says to all of her friends think I'm a moderately intimidating guy, but as you know me, I'm a soft teddy bear, heart of gold kind of person. This is just that. And it reminded me a lot of my dad, of my grandpa, of the men in my life that look tough and rugged and tell you to do the one thing, but really, when you get down to it, always have their family in mind, always are working hard, not for themselves, but for other people. Every time I see my dad driving back and forth in a tractor in the middle of a vineyard, thanklessly, really, I just think about that guy has never let me down. And the grapes that we're working on in the vineyard, he knows that will be eventually put into a bottle. And that bottle will provide for his grandchildren. So I look at this wine, as I do with all of our wines, and that chain of honoring, preparing, working hard, and going out there and being a little thankless, but doing it for the right reason, is exactly what it is. And Dad, being a proprietary red, it is that big, huge, howling ape with a heart of gold. And I love it. So that one's for you, Dad. A little secret, if you look at Mom and Dad, we have the circle and we have the masculine. It's just hidden in there just a little bit, but that's just for you. Our last wine is 1953. And I love making this wine every year. The first time we made it was 1945, and what it was a failure. My dad and I picked our whole Cabernet vineyard just for us because it was unproven, untested, and we picked 40 tons. And that is kind of the reason we're sitting here today, because we had to have a place for it to go. So we took a little bit of our Syrah and a little bit of our Cab, and when we brought it together, it created something that was an expression of both of our properties in one place. Totally non-traditional. And it's non-traditional because the Rhone and Bordeaux are in two very separate places in France. But I don't want anything in France to dictate what we do. So we have two vineyards, only 2 miles away. Why wouldn't we combine it? Because we could give a real sense of who they are in place. And that marriage of our two properties created something that had never been out there before. Yeah, I've found 1 or 2 Syrah Cabs, but really people look down on them. And we started making them 10 years ago. And now I see them more and more and more because we're breaking free of that old bullshit of this is what you should be doing and what you should be tasting and what you should be liking. And we're stretching our wings and becoming new and becoming our brand new American wine culture. And I think this is just that. Grandpa and Grandma, or that union or marriage of those two families coming together, was something brand new and something super special. It's always Cabernet, it's always Syrah, and when we bring them together, it creates something that would never happen naturally. So this is our 9th release of the 1940s to 1950s series. Next year will be the 10th anniversary or the 10th release of this blend. I'm blown away by it. I think it's one of the best we've ever made. And as we continue to push the limits and push forward, we'll make a wine that is that marriage. 2 lives becoming 1 life. That's exactly what this is. 2 grapes becoming 1 wine. I was struck the other day because it was my grandparents' anniversary, May 11th. And I think of all the people and all of the decisions that everybody's made in my family's life that has led to me sitting here talking to you through a magic computer box over the internet. And I think they would be really excited and really proud of what we've done. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, I thank you. I thank you for being a part of this journey. Because just like, with Dad, if I wasn't buying the grapes, I don't know if my dad would be out there mowing. And I don't know, I'd be making wine if my dad wasn't out there mowing. And he and I sat back and thought about all the failures that we've gone through, from frosts and apples and this and that have all led to this. And through all of our lives, there are setbacks, there are things that push us forward, but what we do about them is what matters the most. And I feel honored to get up every day and make wine for you. And thank you for being part of our family. So do me a favor, fill this little thing out, drop it in the mail, or fill it out below. There's so many more great things coming up. Rosé is on its way, and we'll be able to make it your way. So from the bottom of my heart, from my family to yours, live to honor those that have come before you and prepare the way for those yet to come.